All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Bourbon Basement. We are back in our normal setup today from our little Christmas special that we did. Spoiler alert: I'm a little bit ill, so if I cough or if I sniffle during this video, I do apologize. I'm going to try my best not to do that and interrupt. But today we're going to be doing also something a little different. Would you care to explain?
Well, I was going to say we're getting ready to give you some medicine. This used to be a prescription.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to dose myself up here in a little bit. We're going to do something once again a little bit different. It's not a, I guess it is a special. This is like our New Year's special,
kind of
a New Year's special
way
video.
to take out 2024, right?
We're going to do. We've each compiled a list,
Top 10.
a top 10 list of each of our personal favorites that we've tried here in the Bourbon Basement this year. We do have a bunch of open bottles, so we chose from all the open bottles that we had that we could remember that were tried this year, and some that are still on the shelf behind us, and compiled a list of 10 of each of our favorites. We're going to compare them. You said that we're going to start out.
I say we pour it. So, like for everybody, go ahead and get your favorite bourbon of the year. Go ahead and pour it in your glass. Sit back, have a drink with us. We're just going to sip on one, our favorite of the year, as we go through our top 10 list. And we're just going to enjoy talking about some bourbon today. Not history, not anything, just why we love the particular bourbon that we picked.
And these lists are very good, just by the way. Everyone that's on both of our lists. I
think of all the bourbons I had this year, I had one that was bad that I said I wouldn't like. I wouldn't want to get.
We won't speak of that one. I had lied and said that I had never tried a bourbon that I didn't enjoy.
It wasn't a lie. We didn't remember because it was so bad.
There is one bourbon that I've tried that I did not enjoy at all.
So it's hard to do a top 10 bottom of the barrel list. So we're going to do our top 10 favorite bourbons of the year that we've tried. Unfortunately, we don't get the Pappy Van Winkles and the Michter's 20 years and the Double Eagle.
These are still very good lists. Very good list. There's not one bourbon on here that I don't think that everyone would enjoy. Yeah. If I'm just putting that out there.
So you can see that our favorites are hidden. We're going to go ahead and pour our favorite. If you haven't done so, go ahead and pour your favorite. And then we'll sit back and get into our top 10 list.
I'm going to try not to let this end in disaster.
Just make sure it's kind of slick with the paper.
So this is my favorite. This is the top on my list. We'll get there eventually, and that's the top on his list.
Pay no attention to the paper that's on there. It's just something that I was trying to hide these bottles with.
Yeah, it's a spoiler alert. Oh, gosh.
Cheers, everybody. We haven't really discussed how we're going to do our... I guess you just go with your number 10, then I'll go with my number 10.
Yeah, we'll just each say our numbers in
why we like them.
Yeah,
and then because I know your number 1 is on my list, but it's not my number 1, so we'll just skip it. I'll just say it's your number 1.
We'll skip it, and then
all right,
we'll reverse back when we. Yeah, well, it's another winging episode, but we're just kind of
just another one. We've drank these bourbons. We've only done 12 episodes, 11 or 12 episodes in the Bourbon Basement.
I think this is our 13th. We could be
lucky
wrong.
Number 13, maybe. All right. So anyway, we have not tried all these and done an episode about them, but that is coming in the year of 2025. So these bourbons again will be on this list maybe next year, but there's going to be some new bourbons. We'll have 52 episodes come in 2025.
The standards are set very high. 2024 was a good year for bourbon.
It was. And I had a good bourbon budget this year. Now, I don't know how 2025 is going to be. I may get cut back a little bit. Especially after my recent experience.
He had a good Christmas. That's all we can say about that. He had an unintentionally good Christmas as far as bourbon goes.
Well, I will warn you guys, if you are looking for some bottles that you can't find around and you get on these auction sites, you may win more bottles than you expect to win. So be cautious when you're bidding.
Maybe pick out 2 or 3 bottles that you really want.
Be cautious when you're bidding. And sometimes it ain't the price of the bourbon that'll get you. it's the shipping. So be careful.
Unless you want to travel to Timbuktu and pick it up.
It was about 6 or 7 hours each way. So that's
14 hours to pick it up, or X amount in shipping.
All right. Let's get into our top 10. So our top 10 favorites that we've tried this year.
There are some repeats, but it's just because they're such good bourbons. So what you got at your number 10?
You going to let me go first?
Yeah, go for it.
So number 10, recently tried this. I hadn't ever tried it before. I had a couple bottles, took it to Christmas, recently tried it, and I did like it. But my coming in at number 10 is the Blanton's, the original single barrel.
Now, do we remember how many bottles we said we had open back here?
No.
There was a lot more than 10. So narrowing this down to 10, if they made the top 10, they did real good.
There's over 30 bottles.
30 bottles at least that we had tried.
That I know that was on the list. And I'll tell you how I did it. I did it like playoff bracket. I'm a big sports fan. I like the playoff brackets, the Sweet 16s and all that.
He went head-to-heads.
I did head-to-head with every bourbon behind me, and it was a great week. Let me tell you. It was a great week. I tried them all, and I will tell you that that's why I had some empty bottles that I didn't get to try and compare, so I just left them off this list. But I know there's one in particular that I probably would have put in my top 10. And that's the Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond. I really enjoyed that one. It's empty bottle behind me. I didn't get to try it, so it didn't make my list, but I think it would have. But anyway, we're talking about Blanton's. So Blanton's may be a lot of people's favorite. It may be, but this was the first time I tried it. I did enjoy it, and I think it made number 10, and maybe not higher. Maybe it's better than number 10, but I had hyped it up so much to myself.
I hyped it up to you,
thinking it was going to be fantastic, and when I tried it, I was like, well, I've had better. And so
disappointing.
But I did. So when I did my playoff bracket, it was up there about number 4, and it just got knocked down, but it did stay on the top 10. So the Blanton's single barrel, that made my number 10.
All right, my number 10. Kind of surprising in my opinion. I actually tried this in the last family tasting that we did in the Bourbon Basement. Didn't know what it was at the time until we went through and actually announced it. But it's this Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond single barrel. This is barrel number 16,691 from this bottle. Fun fact there.
It's a good bourbon.
It's very good. It's 100 proof. It's very smooth for 100 proof. This one, if I remember correctly, this one had notes of, it was a lot, like, very oaky for me. I like oaky bourbons. Spoiler alert for a couple of the other ones on my list, if you take that into consideration as far as oaky bourbons. But I was really surprised in this one. I'd never had it before that tasting, but this is definitely a bottle that I saw in my top 10, so that takes the 10th spot for me. Highly recommend if you are able to find it.
I enjoy it. That used to be an allocated bourbon.
Is it no longer?
It is no longer an allocated bourbon. You can find it on most of your shelves for anywhere, maybe upwards of 50, but less than 100. Somewhere in that $70 range, 60 to 70 bucks.
Also, guys, I don't know if you all have ever seen this, but he just finished talking about this.
What?
How awesome is this baby Blanton's? Look at the details on the bottle. It even got the horse topper. I think these baby bottles are the coolest things.
We're starting to get a bunch of baby bottles.
But just how accurate they make it to the actual thing, I think it's incredible. And if you all want to send us something, we're going to get a P.O. box. You can send us a baby E.H. Taylor bottle because I want one of those.
They come with the little canisters and everything.
They're awesome. It's literally a mini-me of an actual E.H. Taylor with the canister and the bottle and even their signature like orange tape around the top. It's awesome. So if you want to send us a baby E.H. Taylor.
It's like they put a shrink ray on it.
Yeah. We would love to have a baby E.H. Taylor. All right, anyway, so that's both of our number 10s. Let's move to number 9.
So my number 9, and this one surprised me because it is one of my favorites. It what pretty much started me with my love of bourbon and wanted me to collect and taste every bourbon. But number 9 coming in is the Woodford Double Oaked. Love the bourbon. It's like I said, this was a daily. This is kind of my daily pour, our house bourbon. I
It remains a
consider it.
staple in the
It's
household.
very nice. The Woodford regular,
Small
Woodford
batch.
Reserve was on there on the list for a long time. It barely got knocked out. Uh, but the Woodford Double Oak, it made it at number 9. Went on the tours and everything there. Been to Woodford 2 or 3 times, I guess.
Would go back
Uh,
again.
love the tour. Love the history in there. Love everything about Woodford. And if you are a bourbon lover, guys, and if history means anything to you, you'll see that some of these bottles that I choose have affected me in a way, mainly because I mean, it may not. Maybe my taste is because of memories and the love of the history of it, and maybe that makes it taste better. If
It
you
adds
get to
to
know,
it.
it does. If you get to know the history of these bourbons and what it goes into it and where it came from, it does make it more intriguing and it makes it seem like it tastes better to me. So, but anyway, Woodford Double Oak, number 9.
It makes it more depth. It adds more depth to what you're actually drinking. It makes you appreciate it more.
I agree. It's not just something to drink to be drinking.
All right, my number 9. We're gonna keep it within the Woodford family. Mine is just this regular, uh, without knocking the light off.
Just regular reserve.
I'll just get this baby bottle. Woodford Woodford Reserve small batch.
You love the baby bottles?
I love the baby bottles. Woodford Reserve small batch. This is the very first bourbon that I ever tried, like as an actual bourbon drinker. I've tried the cheap stuff mixed with Coke and stuff, but this was like the first one that I tried straight. And it's been a staple in my bourbon repertoire.
And you've been on those tours as well.
I have. Woodford, I've toured twice. I've toured it twice. Only got to do the tasting there once because I was underage the first time I went, but it just makes you appreciate it more. Woodford will remain a staple in my bourbon drinking repertoire as just a very good mid-grade, affordable sipping bourbon.
I'm going to be interested in seeing next year when we've tried more and more bourbons, if it remains in the top 10. Just like
it's
the Double
hard
Oak.
To beat.
I had to try everything side by side. I did, and that's how I went with it. Smell and taste was really my only judging staples for this particular top 10 list. But I think that memories and sentimental value came into play. Anyway, all right, let's go to number 8. This one I really wanted to be a lot higher on the list. I wanted it to be way up there because it may be the most expensive bottle I've got here. It would be real close to the top of the most expensive. And it's because I had to get it on secondary market. I couldn't find it anywhere.
You're not going to find it anywhere else.
Well, and I wanted to make that poor man's Pappy, and it wasn't poor by the time you buy this. But anyway, Weller 12 years. So Weller 12 years old. So the most disappointing thing with me about this whole bottle is that
I think it's both of us.
Has a screw that is craziness with the screw top instead
the
of the
only
cork.
Weller bottle that we have that has a screw top, and it's the most expensive one.
So the Weller 12 year, you're gonna, you get those vanilla and caramel notes with a little bit of orange zest and some dark chocolate.
It's a good pour.
It's a very good pour. It's a very good bourbon. I wanted it to be up there, around number 1 just because I paid so much for it. I've been to Buffalo Trace. I see where this comes from. But side-by-side tasting, it come in at number 8 for me.
That being said, it's not a disappointing bourbon to drink.
No, the only thing disappointing are good.
The only thing disappointing is the screw top on a X amount.
Just say over $200.
It's probably closer to $300 bottle.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't remember now. I think I said it in our last episode. We did an episode on. Did we do an episode on? Well, we did the poor man's Pappy.
The tasting recap.
Yeah, the tasting recap.
Yeah. That's the only thing disappointing about it. Buffalo Trace, we really gotta talk about what's going on with that.
Just put a cork in it, man.
Put a cork.
Put a cork in it.
Anyway, my number 8 is another one that kind of has sentimental value to me. We went on this tour, and they offered as an exclusive for the tour for you to fingerprint your
nice.
thumbprint
Yep.
on top of a bottle that you got to watch it be bottled and everything, and you got to go seal it, the wax with your thumbprint. And this is not my bottle. My bottle is actually out of frame over here, my thumbprint. But this is Dad's bottle, and we both got one.
You remember why we went?
It was for your birthday?
It's on there. It's written on there.
It was for Dad's 50th birthday.
My 50th birthday.
But this is Dad's bottle. They even gave you a little sticker here with your initials and stuff, and he doesn't have his fingerprint on here, but they let you seal it in the wax with your fingerprint and stuff, and he actually had his engraved at the same time. It says 50th birthday, November of 2023. I'm not going to say his actual name. I might not put that out there.
Tell him that's your single
This
barrel.
This is a
barrel
9-year
proof.
single barrel barrel proof. Yeah. So this is one that you cannot buy in the stores. They said it was a distillery tour exclusive. This particular bottle. You can buy other Knob Creeks. They're not back here. We've actually moved all the unopened bottles out of frame back here. But you can buy what's the highest one that we have? An 18 year?
Is our
a Knob 18 years. So it's double this one, but this one is their tour exclusive. So another sentimental thing for me. I've already drank my entire bottle. Mine's been gone for a long time. I went through mine pretty quick, but
We're sipping on this one.
Yeah,
making it last.
This is a very good pour.
Trying to remain 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to remain 50.
And when this bottle's gone,
then I'm definitely 51.
But if you have the opportunity to go and try this one, or if you had the opportunity to get a single barrel more aged Knob Creek, I definitely recommend it because it can only be better than this, I would assume.
We got a 12 and an 18. We'll try next year sometime.
I think this was the first bourbon I ever tried that was aged more than 7 years. I think 7 years was the oldest bourbon that I had up to this point.
Well, it was pretty cool because that barrel right there that made this got dumped into my hand.
Yeah.
And we tasted
right
it
out of the barrel. He got to sip it out of his hand.
With the stuff in it and everything.
Pretty awesome experience. If you had the chance to go tour Knob Creek, you should definitely do it.
I really enjoyed it. That was Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. Yeah. So if you had the opportunity to go and do that kind of stuff, it's kind of awesome. I was going to say something else.
Our producer's saying this episode might go long.
Well,
you can always fast forward, guys, and get to the end when we're done. But it's live right now, so you got to hang with us.
You got to watch it, like it or not. But that's a very good pour.
All right.
Where was this?
They're right down here. All right, so we're on my number 7. All right, number 7. This one here. Good taste. Enjoyed it. So you got the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This bottle is signed by Jimmy Russell. I also got to meet him and talk to him.
This one almost made mine. It's not on my list. It was a good pour, though.
It's a 116.8 proof. And the Rare Breed, when you look at it, it has that caramel and vanilla sweetness. You get a lot of the burnt oak. Then it kind of finishes up with some apple and citrus. It's really nice pour. It's smooth for such a high proof, and meeting Jimmy Russell and getting to talk to him, that could have played a little part in my number 7 pick here. But
another sentimental kind of thing.
It happens.
A lot
of
these
get in there and you start learning about these things.
Don't consider our opinions biased on it either, because they're very good, but sentimental value
comes into play with your bourbon. I mean, if you pick a bourbon you like, there's a reason you like it. It could be your first bourbon. Could have been you was drinking that when you got your first kiss from your wife. Who knows? It's just there's a lot of stuff that goes on. You like what you like, period. You're not going to like what I like or what he likes, but we're just giving you our opinion of what we tried this year and what we think's the best. What's your number 7?
Number 7. Sticking close to home here.
Oh, really?
Woodford Double Oak. There's not much to say about this one. He's already said. I mean, we've toured Woodford multiple times. This one, I do think, is a better pour than the regular small batch. They're both extremely good, but it obviously ranks a little bit higher. Extremely smooth for what it is. You get your oakiness. That's why I said spoiler alert. I do like the oakier
caramel, oak honey.
I do like the oakier bourbons, and this one being double oaked, it does come out very pungently.
I love it.
But still very smooth.
But it meshes so well with everything else.
It does. Woodford Double Oaked. If you've not had the chance to try it, go get you a bottle of it. It's
and
very,
for very affordable bourbons.
Yes,
they're really complex. I think you can pick out so many different flavor profiles in there.
And it's very, very surprising because a regular small batch of Woodford, it's like $40 for a fifth of it, and then this one is a little bit more expensive, and your bottle is cut in half almost.
45 to 60, depending
60
on where you find
most
them.
of the time. But still, guys, if you haven't tried this yet, go get you a bottle of Double Oak because it really is a very good mid-grade bourbon and holds its own against a lot of the expensive ones.
All right, my number 6.
This one surprised me that it was on your list.
Bardstown Origin Series. We tried it in one of the family tastings.
I know Aaron will like this one.
It was pretty liked by everyone, I think. We did the tour.
I did not do that tour.
Is it Steve Nally? I met him. He signed the bottle there in the gift shop. Got to talk to him a minute. Bourbon Hall of Fame, guys. Bourbon Hall of Fame. So my number 6, Bardstown Origin Series. It's a bottled in bond Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This one in particular is 6 years old. It's 68% corn, 20% wheat. So it is a wheated bourbon. You get that caramel again. You get the kind of a peachy thing. Maybe some caramel apple finish.
We're saying a lot of caramel. It's about to get to the point of the cinnamon. We're gonna have to ban.
I don't know if I put a cinnamon one in mine.
You probably didn't. Not after what we went through when you had Peerless.
But anyway, that's my number 6. So.
Needless to say, Peerless didn't make his top 10.
No, it didn't.
If you want to go back and watch that episode,
spoiler alert, they haven't heard my top 5 yet.
They know that it didn't make it. If you want to know why it didn't make it, go back and watch the Peerless episode that we did.
Too much cinnamon, right? But I've drank it since. I've enjoyed it very much.
Just you put it on the rocks.
I put it on the rocks, and I've been drinking it, and I've enjoyed it very much. It just did not make my top 10. And when I did these side-by-side tastings, they were all neat as well.
All right. My number, 6? Once again, it's another repeat, but it had to make it on there. I hyped this one up a lot for Dad, and I was a little disappointed that it made it so low on his list because I thought that he was really going to enjoy this.
I did enjoy it.
Because this is number 6, but the ones that are above this on my list, it's just, they're top tier, in my opinion. But Blanton's, such a good overall bourbon. I
agree.
Cheaper if you can get it at the distillery. If you cannot, you're going to pay
over 100.
Yeah, probably about $130 for this bottle.
At the distillery, I think it's 75.
This is kind of around the same aspect as E.H. Taylor, I think, when it comes to prices. Like, significantly cheaper at the distillery. Otherwise, you're going to pay over $100 at a liquor store. If you cannot find this at the distillery and you had to go to a liquor store, I would pay $130 for this bottle.
I would too. To have one.
Just to have one. I would not collect the whole collection of the toppers at $130 a bottle, but
you can go buy them.
It's not part of the experience. We're not doing that, by the way. We're going to collect all these tops, and we're going to have it because we have every bottle. We're not cheating. But, guys, very good pour. If you've not had the opportunity to try this, definitely go try some Blanton's because it's on both of our top 10. So if it's made the top 10 list for both of us, that means it's a pretty good bourbon over 2 different palates.
I think most people like Blanton's. I don't hear too many people. I've heard some people say it's overrated, but
I don't think it's overrated. I think it's about on par.
Yeah, most of the ones that I see talk about it, they all enjoy Blanton's. All right, so
I enjoy it.
Top 5. How are we doing on time? All right, top 5 list, guys. Top 5. Now, this is one that I put in there. Well, you don't be cheating.
I've already known. I want to make sure that you're not. I want to make sure that we're not.
All right. So top 5. This is one, guys. So I talk about this bourbon with my family. I mention it a lot. I've went after other bottles and other bottles of it. It's kind of an expensive bottle. I got one for Christmas.
This was the most expensive bottle you had for a while.
I got one for Christmas. I got another one for Christmas. But when I did this side-by-side comparison, I didn't have one. So I went strictly by memory and sentimental value.
But if it tells you anything, memory serves you well on this one. It stands out in your mind.
And I'm going to tell you. So there's nothing in this bottle. It is an empty bottle. But the Booker's, this is the Storyteller. It's actually the fourth batch of 2023.
Oh, look at the presentation of this, though. Like, come on.
So Booker's is actually the fourth batch of the 2023. I'm gonna take it out of here and tell you a little bit about it. This made my number 5, and I would probably say it would be higher if I had some to taste and compare. I went on strictly by memory. This was a 7-year, 2-month-old, and 29-day Booker's. It is called Storyteller. We did a
podcast.
We did a podcast on this one, and it's my favorite podcast, and it's one of the least viewed. So if you haven't seen,
go back and watch it.
If you haven't seen the Booker's podcast, go watch it. I give a ton of history about Booker No, and that is a man that I will regret never meeting in my lifetime.
Stand up,
because he seemed like he was an incredible person. I just read story after story after story, and I am a Booker fan now. I'm a Booker No fan and a Booker Bourbon fan. And
Old Kentucky Tea.
I love that guy. And if anybody sees this episode and they met Booker No, or they know him, or anybody in the family,
they know exactly what we're talking about.
Message me and tell me some stuff about him. Tell me more, because I regret not ever meeting that guy. I wish I got into bourbon earlier so I could have met him.
Just for him.
I do. I swear I do. And just by that, and then this bottle. So just reading about him and the stories that he told and all the stuff he did. This is a Storyteller batch as well. It just hit me. I put it at number 5, even though I did not get to do a side-by-side comparison.
Just from memory alone. Very good bourbon.
That is memory alone.
Such a good bourbon.
I do remember just that it had the vanilla, a lot of vanilla.
It was sweet.
Like a nutty flavor.
And it was a high proof, correct?
I forgot. I didn't read that.
This was so smooth for the proof that it was, and I'm pretty sure it was at least over 100.
But I got a lot of brown sugar with this one, and 127.8 proof.
So almost a 130 proof, guys, and it was so smooth.
Very smooth, and I got that brown sugar flavor with it. I love the brown sugar flavor in the bourbons. But anyway, Booker's, my number 5.
I still think that is the highest proof bourbon that has ever been in this basement. 127, I think, is the highest.
That's a pretty good one.
But so smooth, guys. It's unreal how smooth it was.
I did get a new bottle for Christmas. I'll be drinking it next year sometime.
Where is it?
It's over on the shelf.
I see now.
Different.
I see the casing. But once again, how about that the display?
Yeah, it's nice.
I love it. All right, my number 5. So top 5 now. These were all tough to choose between. But my number 5, another repeat. Once again, we're going back with the old screw top over here. Weller 12. This has already been talked about. Like I said, a lot of these were the same on both of our lists, just different positionings. So pretty consistent taste overall between the two of us, but just not the same rankings.
Yeah,
they're about the same top 10 lists, though, ish.
Like I said, I wanted it way up there, but when I put them side by side, I always I was like this one better, and then it just kept moving down that list.
This one is. I'm trying to think of how to explain it. This one.
Are you trying? What are you doing? Taste profile or what?
Yeah, kind of.
I gave a little bit on that.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go too far in detail. I can't think of the words, and my head's too foggy right now from illness.
Vanilla, caramel.
It's definitely vanilla. It's just a very good pour.
Dark chocolate.
Can you get better for the price?
It's kind of uncomplicated.
I think, yes. But it's definitely still, as far as rarity and everything, and as far as taste, and as far as if you were to just take this part off the bottle, it probably would have ranked higher.
Put a cork in it. Put a cork in it, Buffalo Trace.
It probably would have ranked higher, but this is my number 5.
Put a cork in that thing.
If you have the opportunity to get this, if you're a developed bourbon drinker and you just don't have this in your collection, highly recommend it. And that's basically all.
Well, MSRP on that thing's only like $60, $65.
Good luck
But
finding
you can't. You can't get it. I mean, they don't put it out on the shelf at Buffalo Trace, so you can't get it.
Good luck finding. If you find that for $66, don't drink it.
Maybe the bourbon lottery where a liquor store's doing it, but I've never seen it at MSRP, and I bit the bullet and bought it.
If you find that at $60, don't drink it because you'll never find it again.
All right, number four. My number four is actually his number one. So we'll wait until we
skip his number
four.
We'll
wait till we get to his number one.
So his number four is what I'm drinking right now. My number four is actually what you're drinking right now. My number four is actually what he's drinking right now. So we'll have to come back to both the number fours.
But Are you kidding me?
Just know that the last one that we do is
one's 1 and one's 4.
Yeah.
All right. Hey,
one's 1 on one and one's 4 on the other. If
I can't believe they fell in the same number 4. Though. That's crazy.
Number 4.
All right. So my number 3, and this one kind of shocked me a little bit too, because
that is a shock.
I thought it would be up there, but I thought the Weller 12 was going to be better. But my number 3 is actually the Weller Antique 107.
So funny part about it, these are actually the two that you mix together for the
poor man's pappy. That's
but
right.
It's not poor. Neither one of these bottles are cheap by themselves. It's just cheaper than $5,000.
You pretty much got to get them on secondary market. If you do get them in MSRP, that's great. They're between $65, maybe $55.
Good luck.
But on mine, this one actually has a cork. Maybe that's why it's above that other one.
It's got to be.
But the Weller Antique 107, I can remember the smoothness of it. I remember that sweet caramel that went with it, kind of a kettle corn flavor with some cinnamon candy. But it all meshed really well.
We said cinnamon.
So I did. Here's my cinnamon bourbon.
It even looks like a cinnamon candy, like with the label and everything, the red label.
Yeah, it does. But it was a very good pour. I enjoyed this one more than the Weller 12. And it's used in Poor Man Pappy as well, which I haven't mixed them since we drank the last of that Poor Man's Pappy.
I don't think either one of those bottles has been open since.
No, I've been drinking the Weller 12 a little bit.
Oh, have you?
And then I compared them all side by side. But
other than
number 3.
Other than his tasting, I don't think either one of those has been open since we mixed them at the tasting.
Number 3 for me.
All right, my number 3. Go ahead and pull old dog down again.
Oh, yeah, Booker's.
Booker's was number 3 for me.
So why do you like it so much?
I don't really need to take this down, but just to put the display up here again. This one stood out in my mind so much because I even made it a point to say something to him about it because he was already making his list and made it a point to say that it's only open bottles. I was like, well, we do have one that I know would probably make it on both of our lists that doesn't have anything in it, so you can't try it, but it was so good. And so even out of all the 30 plus, 40 plus that we had tried this year, this bottle's been gone for a while, and it still stood out in my mind. So I knew it had to be.
We tried it in a tasting. You remember that?
It's been gone since.
And it was the one we did 8 in the tasting, and they were healthy pours. And I think this was the very last one. And when we got to it, I think we didn't really give it a shot. You did. You knew it was your favorite from the get-go, but I really didn't give it a shot. And then I went back to it, and when I went back to it, I fell in love with it. And then we went back, and so he and I hit it pretty regular until it was gone after that. That's my new bottle that he was showing you there. That's a 2024 bottle.
It's the Storyteller.
No.
Oh, it's not the
2024 bottle. That Storyteller is the 2023 bottle. Every batch is different. It has a different name. And everything's going to taste, every Booker's is going to taste a little bit different unless you get that same batch.
The Beam House batch.
Yeah, that's the Beam House batch. It's a 2024 product. And I'll drink it sometime in 2025. So I'm always a year behind. He's on a coffin fit over there. So, all right, that was your number 3?
That was number 3. Booker's number 3. It was if you have the opportunity to get Booker's, guys, like I said, we've tried a lot of bottles. That one's been gone since the day after our video that we did on it, and that was months ago.
Yeah.
So the fact that it held its own against this list, even ones that we've had more recently.
My number 5, your number 3.
Such a good bourbon. It definitely makes an impression on you, whether it be the story, whether it be the taste of the actual thing itself. Just impression.
Seriously, if you met Booker,
message us, tell us some
family
stuff
of Booker, somebody give me some stories, because I
there's
love
so
him.
much out
I've
there.
read what I can read, and he just seemed to be a fantastic person. I would have loved to meet him or met him. Sorry. Number 2 for me. Number 2, and this one may not be a surprise to anybody.
You might as well go ahead and keep it down because that's my number 2 as well.
No way. All right.
That's my number 2.
So we'll both talk about it then. So number 2 for both of us, the Colonel E.H. Taylor Small Batch.
Such a good bourbon.
You can get this at the distillery. You get it at the distillery for about $55. Get it aftermarket for about $150, or secondary market $150. I did manage to make it back this past weekend.
If you haven't followed the TikTok, you would see that.
Was it yesterday or the next day? Yeah, we did a
oh, sorry guys, I just
distillery thing, TikTok. But anyway, I got a couple more bottles of this while we was there. I'm looking for the single barrel and the barrel proof. That's kind of what I want to try next. I am a fan of single barrels. And I am a fan of the barrel proofs. I think it shows on my list that I made here. So, but anyway, with this one here, you kind of get some. Oh, this is a bottled in bond. I get some toffee with some apples.
This is so sweet.
It is sweet.
It's so sweet. It's smooth. It tastes like I said apple pie.
Well,
I mean,
this one was hands down for me my favorite smell.
This smells. I mean.
Apple pie. When I pop that cork out of that comes up and hits me, and it is an allocated bottle,
very allocated.
But the smell hits me, and you already know it's a delicious bourbon. This is just a small batch.
Send us a baby bottle.
I can't wait. To have the single barrel and the barrel proof. But on the single barrel and the barrel proof, the I don't even know what MSRP is on them. I've never seen them for MSRP, and the aftermarket price is so high on those.
They like them a lot.
They do, and
I can't say
it's disappointing. I would like to find them. If I found them for $100, $150, I'd buy them. But
still,
I can't find them for under $200. So, but number 2 for me, and number 2 for Ryan, E.H. Taylor Small Batch.
That one was almost first for me because that. Talk about an impression of a bourbon. I knew from the moment that we had it at that tasting, I knew that it was in the rotation, that it was going to be my favorite out of the ones that we listed. I mean, it wasn't even close on that one for me.
Well, when I did this, I thought that one was probably going to be number 1. And
the
one I picked
close.
as number 1, I didn't even have it in my top 5 pre-tasting everything.
The one, y'all aren't going to really be surprised at my number 1 unless you just forgot that we had that bourbon. That's the only reason that it wouldn't be number 1.
Your number 1, we actually did it was like a special. You go ahead and do your number 1.
No, I think mine deserves to be saved for last.
But I just did a lot of talking. All right, so my number 1 bourbon of the bourbons that I have tasted
in 2024
this year that I had a bottle to compare with or could remember the taste. So there's a lot of things there. My number 1. Oh gosh, not that.
Let's not knock Buffalo Trace off.
My number 1. If you watch the episode on it, you may not be surprised if you watch but 4 Roses, single barrel, barrel proof, hand selected by master distiller Brent Elliott. Master distiller Brent Elliott.
Just a side note, this was my number 4.
This is his number 4.
His number 1.
This is the recipe. They have 10 recipes that you all know. We talked about this. This is recipe OESB. It actually made my number 1. Delicious pour with some rich caramel notes, kind of like a pecan pie.
It was very good.
And it's sweet. It's desserty. The nose was fantastic too.
What was the other one that we tried in that episode of 4 Roses? OES,
this one. We tried this one.
OES.
OBSF.
Both of those were very good.
Two different mash bills.
This one was definitely the best.
This one is more weeded. That one's more rye. Yeah.
I'm not a big rye guy. Even though my name's Ryan, I'm just not a huge rye guy.
But we actually did the tour, 4 Roses. The tour, I don't think it had any play in the park. No sentimental value there. It was a good tour. I recommend it. I like the one in Lawrenceburg.
I didn't get to go to that one. I went to the one in... Where was that one at?
Claremont? No. Where was that? something.
We also did that for your birthday.
That was part of my 50th
that was
birthday
the same
experience.
birthday trip.
We did that one.
Man, that was a good day.
It was a great day.
That was a good day. We got that knob bottle and everything.
But this one here was Ryan's number 4, made my number 1. Just loved it. But anyway, this one was purchased at the distillery. It was about $100 there. It was one hand selected by their master distiller. And I'm going to have me some more while we're sitting here waiting on Ryan.
I don't think that I've seen that one in stores.
They have single barrels. They have single barrels in the store. You can get barrel proof in the store. But I don't know if you can get one hand selected by their master distiller, Brent Elliott.
Oh, Brenty boy.
My number 1, Ryan's number 4.
All right. And then vice versa. My number 1 is also going to be his number 4. So, all right.
You got the coordination. I don't. I can't even believe that.
And like I said, unless you just forgot that we had this bottle, that was the only reason that this wouldn't have been number 1 for me.
I love this bottle too.
This one is the Woodford Reserve Masters Collection. This is a very special bottle to me.
Proof.
Batch proof. 121 proof? 121.2, guys. And this is it's got to be one of the smoothest high proof. I mean, this is up there.
You would not know it's 121 proof.
No, and the same could be said about Booker's. 127 proof and goes down, I mean,
smooth.
Just about as smooth as this. It's just a very good overall. It's got the oakiness that I love, even more oakiness than double oak. It's got the sweetness. It's got caramel, toffee, a very, I don't even know. I
get cocoa in there.
This thing is complex. This is not a simple bourbon, in my opinion.
No, it's a very complex
You can
bourbon.
pull out.
Producer wants the trash out.
You can pull out so many flavors, and I mean,
that's not family. That's actually a spam.
I mean, you can pull out so many layers. I mean, this thing just keeps coming at you every time that you take a sip of it, and if you come back to it on another day, you're going to pull out even more flavors from it. This is not a simple bourbon. It's very complex. From the first moment that I tried it, that he brought it home, he said, "I got something real special," and I was like, "What we got?" And he was like, "This has got to be," he said, "this thing's going to be awesome."
Well, we both love Woodford so much.
And this is not a biased opinion. This is just the best drink that I've had in the Bourbon Basement in 2024, hands down. The sentimental stuff does come into play, but when it's a bottle this good, sentimental can help out, but it carried its own weight.
There's 3 or 4 different types of bottles in the Masters collection. This one is just the batch proof. It's the only one that I found at the time that was available. I still haven't seen the others. They're like finished in different barrels and stuff, the others. But this one is the batch proof, and like he said, it's extremely smooth. I get a lot of caramel and cocoa.
It's very good.
But it has complex flavors. You can get different flavors every time you drink it, depending on what's been in your mouth that day, I guess.
It's there's not a lot that I can say that it doesn't already say for itself. If you've ever had the opportunity to try this bottle quite literally speaks for itself. If you have the opportunity to get it, I don't know how rare these are. These are pretty rare to find.
And they are allocated, you will pay over $100 for it.
Depending on the bottle that you get from the collection. Like you said, this was the
well, yeah, I mean,
or this was.
I got this at a big time liquor store where most things are MSRP, and it was over $100. But it was back there on their allocated shelves, behind the counter and everything, and it was over $100.
How pretty is this though?
It was actually like maybe $150.
And a pretty bottle too. It's very nice to look at.
But it was a different bottle than Woodford I hadn't seen, so that drew my eye. I never even really studied or learned anything about the Masters collection, but
y'all got to see the color of this thing, because the color of this thing. Look how dark this color is.
He likes this one.
Oh my gosh, guys!
We'll have to get another one when this one's gone.
I mean, just how pleasant is that to look at? Yeah, we're a little bit below halfway.
We've been babying it. We ain't been knocking it back.
Well, we knock it back when we got family and stuff over, but other than that, I don't think that bottle gets touched by either one of us.
Yeah, it does.
Whoa! I I don't touch it. That's my baby.
It does get touched.
But
Well,
by far my number one. I can't believe it ranked so low for you. Number 4.
Number 4 is not low. I mean, look how good these bourbons were that we had.
I told you they were a stacked list, guys. Every bourbon on this list was so good.
You want to tell them about the worst one of the year?
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there.
Hey, if you followed us on TikTok, you know our opinion on this one, guys. So that was our top 10. There's no bad list because all of them have been good except
I've only
one.
tried one that's been bad.
So this is the number 1 on the bad list of 2024.
And the only one on the bad list.
The only one. This is no offense to Liquor Barn, but all the offense to their selector that went and picked this out because this is horrible. This is Town Branch. Guys, we're not crapping on Town Branch. This is the only bottle of Town Branch we've ever had.
We've never tried another bottle.
So we're not throwing them to the woods or anything, but this is Town Branch. This is Liquor Barn Select, barrel hand selected by Liquor Barn. So whoever they sent to pick that thing out,
they didn't do a good job.
He's horrible. I can only imagine he's been fired since. But this is a single barrel reserve, guys. And if you want my personal opinion on it, and I'm not exaggerating to you, if you just take our word for it on this one, it literally tastes like they took an oak barrel, a brand new oak barrel. They sprayed weed killer all on the inside of it. They torched it and charred it in this barrel and then aged it for 6 years.
Is it 6 years old?
You don't get weed killer flavor like that in under 6 years. There's no way.
It is bad. And you can see it's almost gone because we don't waste our bourbon.
We've just been trying to get rid of it.
We've put it with Coke. We've put it in mixed drinks, and it doesn't make it any better. It's pretty bad.
It doesn't even say how long it was aged.
And I'm a single barrel fan. This one
ain't it.
Didn't do it for me.
Town Branch, once again, we're not crapping on Town Branch. This is the only bottle we've ever had.
We will try different versions.
Some people may love this, but to me, it tastes like they charred weed killer into a barrel and then aged it for at least 4 years. That's what I get out of this bourbon.
He gets that. I get like chemicals and licorice.
Like I said, weed killer. It's weed killer, guys. If you've ever smelled weed killer, like window cleaner or something, it's so bad. It's so brutally horrible.
All right, we've ragged on it enough.
Town Branch, not against you, completely against Liquor Barn's selector, because that was awful. Like,
I don't know how well you all can see the bottles behind us, but if you see something up there that you like better, leave it in the comments. We'll have a discussion about it. If you see something, or we'll tell you why we didn't put it in our top 10. If you see something in here that you want us to try for our next episode, our first episode of 2025. Next one's the first episode of 2025. What are we going to do? Let's do something. If we don't get any suggestions, let's do something that equals 25. So we can do I would do a 25-year-old bourbon, but I don't have any. We can do.
Where's the pappy?
We can do like 2 10s and a 5-year-old bourbon. That'd be 3. Or we can do like the Knob 18 and a 7-year-old bourbon. Maybe the Old Ezra 7. And just compare them. Let's do something that equals 25.
The only thing he's talked about is opening up new bottles instead of finishing the ones that we've already got open.
It's a new year, man. We got to open some. These ain't going to last us all year.
No, but we could do a video on them.
We will do a video on them. We got to do a video on all these before we can finish the bottle. So
except for Town Branch. Town Branch is gone. Town Branch, bye.
All right. So leave us a comment. Go to TikTok, watch it. Go to our YouTube, click on the live thing, and watch our past episodes.
What are you doing? That's my job.
Do it then. Let's get it done.
All right,
our producer's giving us this.
Thanks so much, guys, for giving us a little bit of time out of your day. Hopefully you enjoyed this. This was honestly maybe one of my favorite videos that we've done since we started. I enjoy stuff like this, giving you our top 10s and stuff. Hopefully you all thought the same. Once again, like he said, follow us on TikTok, The Bourbon Basement, no spaces. You can find kind of behind-the-scenes stuff that you don't get to see here on the live stream. Always a fun time, and some funny videos here and there. You'll have to go watch the one we did about Town Branch. That was a good one. Like he said, on our YouTube channel, if you want to go back and watch any of our live streams that have been archived, go to The Bourbon Basement, no spaces, click on our homepage, and then at the right of the homepage, it'll give you the live option, and that's where all of our live streams will be archived. All that being said, guys, we will catch you all in 2025. As always, why drink alone?
when you can drink with us.
We'll see y'all later.
Hey, do I have a hug again?
No, you got one last week.
I'll just continue with this Kentucky hug.